Every single night, your subconscious mind is basically leaving behind this hidden trail of clues, just waiting to be discovered. If you've ever woken up reeling from some completely wild, vivid dream, you're actually already standing right on the edge of a huge breakthrough. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're skipping past the absolute basics of lucid dreaming and diving straight into mapping out the architecture of your awareness. The material we're exploring shows that every single dream, no matter how utterly chaotic it might seem, actually has a deep underlying pattern. It has a signature, a highly specific clue. It's kind of like a cinematic experience playing out in your mind's eye, full of deep blues, purples, and dim golden highlights, but packed with subtle strangeness. And by understanding exactly how our brain constructs these nightly narratives, we can literally learn to become the architect of our own awareness, decoding the very clues our mind is trying so hard to hide from us.
So I want you to really think about your recent sleep. Was there a moment that just felt off? Like maybe you're walking through your childhood home, but suddenly the doors open up into a packed supermarket. Or actually, let's say you're forced to take a ridiculously hard calculus test that you definitely didn't study for. And wait, the test is written in a language you don't even speak? We've all had those absurd moments, right? Well, these elements of slight, surreal distortion are exactly what we need to focus on. When we're moving through a dream, we usually experience this bizarre confusion without any actual awareness that we are confused. We just kind of go with it, accepting the total madness as our current reality. But taking a step back and actively reflecting on that feeling, that subtle lingering sensation of something being fundamentally off, is your absolute first step toward true discovery. It's all about training yourself to spot the glitches in your mind's matrix.
And this brings us to what I like to call the illusion of normalcy. It's a fascinating paradox, really. Think about it. While we're awake, our minds absolutely demand logic. If the coffee cup on your desk just suddenly floated into the air right now, your waking mind would immediately freak out and question the impossible. You'd be looking for hidden wires, or a magnet, or just some kind of logical explanation. But inside the dream world, we blindly accept a floating cup like it's completely normal. Why does this happen? Well, it's because during REM sleep, your brain's prefrontal cortex, which is basically your logic and critical thinking center, is completely powered down. The dreaming mind accepts the illogical without a second thought because your biological security guard has literally left the building. This is the core hurdle we have to jump over. The dream environment throws things at us that entirely defy the laws of physics, yet our critical thinking is just totally offline. Recognizing this massive difference in how we process reality, depending on whether our eyes are open or closed, is the ultimate key to unlocking lucidity. Okay, so this leads us to an absolutely crucial concept: dream science. Now, these are not just random misfires of a tired brain. Those little details, the weird moments, and those impossible events that keep repeating, they are highly specific signatures. They are literal messages from your subconscious mind, acting like profound psychological breadcrumbs. See, when your brain attempts to process your daytime experiences, your emotions, and your memories, it speaks in a symbolic language. Think of these signs as a recurring symbol. Maybe it's a specific vintage clock that always runs backwards, a strange door that glows, or a certain person from your past who constantly shows up in places they absolutely don't belong. Once you learn to recognize these repeating, impossible details, they fundamentally transform. They stop being just bizarre background scenery, and they become your signal. Your personal flare going off in the dark, telling you that the reality you're currently experiencing is actually a highly sophisticated illusion. Let's break down some of these common anomalies so you can start spotting them in your own sleep. We're talking about stuff like flying without wings, or having this incredibly deep philosophical chat with someone who literally isn't there. Or maybe your environment shifts without any warning whatsoever, like your living room just instantly dissolving into a dense, snowy forest. Or time. Time totally stops making sense. You look at your watch and the hands are replaced by weird symbols, or the digital clock just cheerfully says, banana. Seriously, these are classic, universal anomalies. Imagine being in the middle of a serious conversation, and suddenly the person you were talking to just vanishes into thin air. In a normal dream, you'd probably just keep talking, or start walking through the forest like nothing even happened. But by familiarizing yourself with these specific anomalies, you're priming your brain. You're telling your conscious mind, hey, if I find myself floating in midair or reading a clock that says banana, that's a pattern. That is a dream sign.
The real trick here, the absolute game changer, is a simple but profound shift. You've got to start observing actively. Look for what repeats. The very second you wake up, before you grab your phone, before you even think about your to-do list, just take a quiet moment to reflect. By doing this, you can identify those subtle repetitions and turn them from confusing, forgotten background noise into a seriously powerful tool.
You move from being a passive passenger in your dream to becoming an active analyst of your own subconscious. It's all about finding that one strange detail, zooming in on something clearly off, and realizing, wow, this is a recurring theme for me. Once you lock onto your personal, specific dream signs, they become your trigger. They are the catalyst for the next, most crucial phase of the whole process, shifting you from mere sleep into conscious exploration.
All right, so how do we actually cross the line from observation into full lucidity? It happens in this incredibly precise, powerful sequence. First, you observe the dream. Second, you notice that repetition. You spot that personal dream sign we just talked about. And then bam, the absolute turning point. Step 3, you ask yourself, am I dreaming? This is the exact moment the dream often pauses slightly. It's this beautiful hint of awareness forming right there in the fog. The moment you see your sign, you stop, you actively question your reality, and in that exact second, you hit step 4, achieve awareness. You cross the line from blindly dreaming into full waking awareness. Your prefrontal cortex sparks right back to life. You are now a conscious observer, a fully awake architect operating directly inside your own subconscious mind. The world around you might still be a dream, but your mind is finally awake.
But to really make this happen, the prep actually starts in the real world, right before you drift off. Tonight, as you're lying in bed, I want you to set a very deliberate intention. Just tell yourself, I will recognize my dream signs. And look, this isn't just wishful thinking, it's a highly effective mental hack. You're engaging in an exercise to literally prime your brain for a shift in consciousness. By repeating this simple, calming phrase, you're effectively planting a seed of awareness. You're giving your waking mind a task to carry out as it crosses that threshold into sleep. And that seed, it will take root and bloom exactly when you need it most. The precise moment your personal dream sign appears, glowing in the dark of your sleeping mind, reminding you to ask that all-important question.
To wrap up this explainer, here is the absolute biggest takeaway. Your subconscious is already talking to you every single night. It's building these incredibly elaborate, cinematic, slightly glitching worlds and leaving a trail of impossible breadcrumbs just for you to find. The clues are already there. They are quite literally waiting for you. They're just waiting for you to stop accepting the impossible as normal, to recognize the pattern and take back control of your nighttime narrative. So, as you lay your head down tonight and set your intention, are you finally ready to catch those subtle signals, decode the architecture of your mind, and wake up inside your own dream?